madhyamam asmadacharya paryantam vande guru paramparam. Om Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devah Bhadram pashyema akshabhiryajatrah Sthirairangaistuštuvagumsastanubhi Vyashema devahitam yadayuh Swasti na indro vriddhashravah Swasti na pusha vishwavedah Swasti nastarkshyo arishtanemihi Swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamas Tuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Nantaf pragyam na bahish pragyam na ubhayataf pragyam na pragyana ghanam na pragyam na pragyam adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam alakshanam achintyam avyapadeshyam ekatma pratyayasaram prapancha upashamam shantam shivam advaitam chaturtham manyante sa atma sa vigyeyaha. So today we will start on the word Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. A lot to be said about that, so we'll visit that word and what it means. But before going forward to discuss that, I would like to go over a good question, a valid doubt posed by one of the students who sent me an email, Subroto Bose. And I'm really pleased that Subroto has been studying. He went to the Sailorsburg retreat, and very happy that he's really applying his mind to this. That's really what it takes for a student. So Subroto said that he finds a contradiction in the class last week that we talked about, which is the distinction between Lakshanam and Vastu, if you recall. So what we said was that all things that we see in our life, either in a very concrete form or in a subtle form. Subtle form means thoughts. Concrete form means through our indriyas. That this is a table is a appearance which is very concrete. But on the other hand, thoughts such as that is not a good person, or that I am very relieved. So these kinds of what is called Sakshi Bhasyam, there's a technical word for it, it's Sakshi Bhasyam. Sakshi Bhasyam means that that person is good or not good, or that I am Sukhi or Dukhi, is not based on your perception, but it is based on your thoughts. Sakshi Bhasyam. Now, this is exactly what the distinction is between Antah-pragyam and Bahish-pragyam. So the Antah-pragyam, and here the Antah-pragyam only applying to the dream experience is not proper, because as we will see this more and more, that really our waking state also is like a dream. And so, for example, any mental thoughts, not mental thoughts, any thoughts, any mental perturbations also have a form. They have a nama rupa. And they all have a lakshana. So lakshana means that they have some distinctive qualities that separates them from other experiences. So in the case of the sthula vastus, the table is different from a carpet, the carpet is different from a wall, etc. Each of them has a lakshana. Thoughts are the same way, all the thoughts of a lakshana. So we talked about that lakshana, and then we made a distinction between the lakshana and the vastu, which is the atma, which does not have a lakshana, alakshanam. So we went through this quite elaborately in the last class, if you recall. Now Subrata has a question. He says that the fact that the Atma does not have any lakshana is contrary to what we have studied before, that Satyam Jnanam Anantam or Satchidananda is also a lakshana. Because there is no other object in the world which is pure Sat. Everything else is changing. So, the Shruti itself says that the lakshana of the Atma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And then we say that the Atma does not have a lakshana. So he said this, I don't understand. A good question. The answer to this has two parts. Why this appears to be a contradiction. One part is that the usage of word is very contextual. Same word can have a different meaning in different contexts. We are all very fortunate to be familiar with the word mouse. The mouse is a completely different meaning in non-technical terms. I have a huge problem, in fact, I don't know, you can even hear it sometimes, of wood rats, wood mice. I have no idea how to get rid of them. I've had so many people coming and so on. Anyway, that's a mouse. A rat is a big mouse. And the word mouse in the technical field has a completely different feeling. It is something that you can get your cursor onto the right one and then press it. So the same word can be used in different ways. This is answer number one. So what that means is that to ascertain the Atma with what is called Satyam Jnanam Anantam is a lakshana, no doubt. Same word lakshana. but in the context of your experiences of life, to distinguish what is changing versus what is not changing, it is not a lakshana. Lakshana is something different. So therefore, the answer to this doubt is that the word lakshana has a different meaning in terms of the positive definition of the Atma and the relative definition of the Atma with respect to the world. This is the answer number one. To strengthen this answer, there is another way to look at it, which is the following. We have seen that to find out if there is something in my life, something which is experienced or which is part of my experience, I shouldn't say which is experience, which is part of my experience, we use the term, we have already done this, lakshana pramanabhyam artha siddhi. Lakshana pramanabhyam artha siddhi. Artha siddhi means that a meaning of something, anything, is established by two factors, lakshana and pramana. So lakshana pramanabhyam, it is the third case dual. And two factors are necessary for us to establish anything. One is lakshana and the other one is pramana. What does it mean? For me to talk about anything, I must have a lakshana for it. How? It must distinguish itself as being different from everything else. You and I are a person. And each one of us is different from everybody else. We are unique. How do we know that? Pramana. That means you have to look at me. You have to see what I look like. And I may look like somebody else, but that's very incidental. I am unique, and so are you. Each one of you has a different form from everybody else. That's how we can tell you what your name is. Who are you? So, lakshana pramana bhyam artha siddhi. Okay? Now, comes the second part why the contradiction is there. Does the Atma have the same lakshana and pramana as anything else? Does it? Upon analysis, we find it does not. Why not? Why doesn't the Atma? Because a human being, you and I, is lakshana pramana bhyam artha siddhi. We have a particular form, we have a particular function, relationship, age, color, all those kinds of things. What about the Atma? The Atma does not really have. It certainly has no pramana. And because it does not have a pramana, it really does not have a lakshana as well. Hey, wait a second. If the Atma does not have pramana, the Atma does not have lakshana, then why are we talking about it? We are holding so many classes, our lifetime of classes, retreats, and so on. We can talk about this and so on. Why? If the person is not there, No, that's not true. Why not? Because this is something that needs to be seen. And we're going to talk a lot about this in the retreat. The Atma does not need a pramana. And therefore it does not need a lakshana. No pramana can work on it. The only way a pramana can work on it is to say it is different from everything else that has a pramana. What is remaining is the Atma. And the Atma cannot be pointed out with a finger. Or like we can say, we can tell some 2-year-old baby, baby, this is a table. See this thing? Yeah, this is called table in English. That can be done. You cannot do that for the Atma. Because the Atma is the basis of everything else, as we will see. And it but cannot be, it is not an object, it is not something can be pointed out, it doesn't need a pramana. In fact, that is the only thing that does not need a pramana. Doesn't need any, and therefore it does not have a lakshana. It is the common thing amongst all the lakshanas. So therefore, to complete this analysis, yes, in some way, it has to be brought out as a vastu. And once it is brought out as a vastu, then it becomes the only vastu that there is, on which all the avastus have a lakshana. Anyway, that gave me your question gave me a chance to explain this. So, in summary, no, there is no contradiction for all the reasons that we mentioned. So, now go back to the explanation of Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. Adrishtam Avyavaharyam Alakshanam Achintyam Agrahyam Avyapadeshyam Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. So it is very interesting that in the entire explanation of this very important mantra number 7, for which our class is number 41 today, just on the mantra, not of the previous parts of the Mandukya Upanishad, on the next 7th mantra. This is our 41st class. In this mantra, up to now, it is saying what it is not. Ekatma Pratyaya Saram is the first word that says what it is. Up to now, it was what it is not. Starting with na antaf pragyam, not thoughts, na bahish pragyam, not table, something which is visible, something, So something which is subtle, something which is not subtle, it is not this, it is not this. And then after all that, then we start adrishtam. It's not, cannot be seen in the normal manner. Avyavaharyam. It is in fact the common element to all the vyavaharas, etc., etc. It's not this, it is not this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this. Then what is it? All you've been saying is it's not this, okay, I get it. So, this section of the mantra, starting with Ekatma Pratyaya Saram, then, as we will now do several classes on this, because Swamiji has spent, I was just looking at it in the Mandukya Karika, so many pages explaining Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. Then comes Prapancha Upashamam. Then comes Shantam. Then comes Shivam. Then comes Advaitam. Then comes Chaturtham Manyante. Sa Atma Savigyeya. You are a very special person that needs a lot of explanation. So we'll go into that. So, Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. So, here, Swami Akhandananda Ji, as he normally does, he's very, very particular about that, goes back to the Shankara Bhashya on the Mandukya Upanishad and bases his thoughts, his explanations, his tippani on Shankara Bhashya. So Shankara Bhashya itself is a tippani on the Upanishad, and then of course you can have Anandagiri and others, and then you have a Mahatma that can relate it to the actual experience of life, and so he also bases it on that. So, for those of you that have this book, on page 479, he cites the Shankara Bhashya on Ekatma Pratyaya Saram. He says, Jagradadi sthaneshu ekaha ayamatma iti abhyavichari yaf pratyayaha tera anusaraniyam iti ekatma pratyaya saram. So, and there's another one he's going to give another explanation of that in a minute. We'll come to that, but at least just look at that. So what does it mean? So Adi Shankara says, look, in a way this is finding Paramatma. You can call it Ishvara, you can call it Paramatma, you can call it Parameshwara, you can call it God, you can call it anyone. We'll go over this in quite a bit of detail in our retreat coming up. So what it means is, I won't go into as much detail here, but let me just summarize some parts of it, and we will go into this in more detail in the retreat. If you look at it, whether we realize it or not, and we don't, We are all looking for Parameshwara. All, every one of us, including animals. So we'll explain this in much more detail in the retreat. But here, this is what my attempt is. If you ask somebody that's what you're doing, they'll laugh at you. Say, what are you talking about? I'm not looking for Ishvara. I'm not looking for Paramatma. I'm just looking for food. I'm looking for some fun. I want my candidate to win in the election. I think we have the wrong people elected. That's what I want. I'm not looking for God. And if you look at your life, if you just examine your life's experiences, it is such a beautiful thing. The life's experiences is given as a complete summary in 24 hours. All possible things are, it is as though you are looking for something. You're looking for something. You're lost and you're looking for something, and you spend 24 hours in making a complete circle looking for that thing. And then what happens at the end of 24 hours, you come back exactly to the same point and you start looking again. This we will see in more clarity. In other words, really speaking, if you examine your life, it consists of 3 stages or 3 different acts. I think act is a better way. It's like a drama with 3 acts. And this is what we've been studying in the Mandukya Upanishad, that is very central to it. So this is what is called Avasthatraya. That the first act is that of acting as a waking person. As a waking person, I have a certain personality, I have a certain form, I have certain relationships. Then I have an interesting experience where I leave my personality as a waking person and I just go into a completely different world. Has no relationship to it. It may borrow some ideas from the waking stuff, but it is completely on its own. I make it up. I do that. Then, very interestingly enough, I go into an experience where there is no appearance whatsoever. Because the other 2 require a lot of relationships. This is what is called prapancha. So prapancha means the relationship between the outside and the inside, between 5 indriyas and 5 outside. We call prapancha. So the Jagrat and the Swapna Avastha are both prapancha. There is a very interesting experience in my life in which there is no prapancha. And I love it. One can say that I really enjoy interacting with people in my life. Because otherwise, I'm sitting here, I'm bored. So it's very nice, and this is exactly why we go on trips. You see different things. You've never seen that before, and your wife is your mind is very fascinated. Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful place. I must come here again. How people live. So we love to interact with things, with other people. We love to go to parties and talk to people. But what did you think? How many children do you have? And we love it. We think this is one part of life. Then we should know there is a stage where I do not interact with anyone. There is no party, there is no trips, nothing. So you would think that my tendency is to find company because I find it very fun. And if I don't find company, then I want to avoid it. I don't want to go to some place where I'm alone. I want people to be interacting, asking me. This is a very funny thing. I tell you, I noticed this in people. People go to meet other people not to find out about somebody else, but to tell people who you are. This is just, I tell you, this is, it's very interesting. 90% of the interrelationships is where you're not really learning anything from someone else. You are actually sharing your experiences. Somehow you feel people should be listening to me. Anyway, so the point is, what I'm saying is that we have an experience in life where my seeking in company is not there. I'm alone. And it is very pleasant. I love it. That should really tell me something. See, this is the thing. The creation of these three acts of the play are extremely deliberate. As we have talked about this before, nothing in the world is random. It's just that I don't know how to think. And when I do try to think, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I stop thinking. So you have scientists and psychologists and psychiatrists and Freud and philosophers. They don't come to any conclusion. They're still searching. This is where Shastra is most important. We have already talked about this. Swami Akhandananda was the first one that really explained this so well to me, that the word Shastram consists of two forms, what is called Shasanam and Shamsanam. Shasanam is how to think, how to analyze it, how to recognize the pattern, how to see where you're getting lost. Because otherwise, so the day is the same. We come back to the same point. It's called Shasanam. And this has sadhanas as part of that. Shruti mata tarkam anusandhiyatam. Dustarkya tyajyatam. Means independent logic, leave it. Follow the Shruti mata tarka. Because Even after I tell you it is not going to be easy for you to, because you are so lost. But at least you should do the search in a very systematic manner. And follow what I'm telling you for your own good. Therefore, the Shruti says, listen, examine your experiences. You think your happiness is in interacting, having friends. Sure, you do have some fun, but you have more fun when you are not interacting. And this is the evidence every night. In fact, we want to sleep more. We find it very, very pleasant. But have we ever analyzed what does it mean? How can I have such sukha by not interacting with someone, just being on my own? This is what the Shruti says. Anyway, what Shruti says is, really speaking, you are looking for Parameshwara in your life. You're looking for God. And you won't admit it because it is not fashionable. If you tell somebody I'm a seeker of God, they will kind of say, oh, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. He should be learning more about artificial intelligence, all the things that are happening. Where's God into the picture? Is there something wrong with you? Are you unhappy? Really? Aren't you finding enough things in your life that you have to go look for God? Nobody would admit. But we must understand whether we admit it or not, whether we talk about it or not. Really, everyone is looking for God. What does that mean, looking for God? It means, okay, fine, we grant you that God, Ishvara, Paramatma, is someone amazing. We grant you that. Because the very definition of God is someone who is the very creator of the whole thing, the very sustainer of the whole thing, who is running the show. So yes, we know. But then for you to say I'm looking for that person, that doesn't impress me. But I understand that there is God. I understand that. But where are you going looking for it? So now if we look at the fact that a 24-hour period is really a repetition, our life is nothing but a repeat of one day, one day, one day, one day. And it looks like a sequence. There's some changes. I'm growing older. I may marry. I may divorce. I may remarry. I may have children. I may have grandchildren. So there are some changes, but it's a repeat, same template. Repeat, repeat. Jagrat, Sushupti, and dream. All three of them. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Are you finding God anywhere? Is he around there somewhere in this? Because it's the same template. No, I cannot find it. Cannot seem to find. Okay, now let me ask you something. What is your definition of Paramatma? Let me ask you some fundamental question. Is the Paramatma coming and going? I know that we have not found God, but at least let us do it structurally, systematically. Am I going to find Paramatma where he or she, we don't even know whether it's a he or a she, first of all. So we have to use a word. Let's use the word he for the time being. Is he someone that is there one day and disappears another day? No. No, I don't think that's the person. Because that means that he's dispensable. That means it is not dependable. That means it's not always relevant to me. Just like my life's experiences, something is relevant for a while, then it becomes irrelevant. When I sell a house, it becomes irrelevant. Whether it burns down or there's bugs crawling over it, doesn't matter to me. So the whole experiences of them are, is it relevant or not really relevant? And God, if he comes and goes, that's not the God I'm really looking for. So we can now argue that our attempt to see God in our experiences has to be looked at very structurally. What does that mean structurally? Is God going to be my experience? Because my experiences are coming and going, not stable, not reliable, not dependable, not relevant. All right, okay, I can get that, I can see that. So if you look at your life, it consists of basically two aspects to it. What is called this and what is called I. No matter whose life it is, what stage of life it is, what nature it is, where you were born, these two things always remain the same. All our experiences for the moment we are born has I and this. Right? Okay. So these are the two places where I am likely to find God. If I'm looking for God. I can even admit I'm not looking for God. I'm just trying to be a simple person. Just surviving. I don't know where God is or what the Ishvara's role to is. That doesn't mean, but yeah, I will think about it, but not very relevant to me. Right now, my experiences are all this and I. This and I. This and I. So with that being the case, are you likely to find Parameshwara in this? No. Why? Because you know that the nature of this is coming and going. In fact, your 24-hour period is a great testimony of that. That what you have during the day hours completely disappears. And both of them disappear in the Sushupti Avastha, in the deep sleep. So they're not reliable. They kind of come back and so on, but they're not constant. So God cannot be your experience. You know what is left? There's only two places. I and this. I and this. And God cannot be in this for the reasons we just mentioned. Not reliable, coming and going, and so on. And that doesn't fit the definition of God. And there's only two places that God can be, either in this or in me. Not in this. It's not in me either. So that means there is no God. There's no Ishvara. There is no Paramatma. What it means is, my definition, see, this is the thing. So what we normally say is this. Yeah, you're right. I do not perceive Parameshwara. I myself don't feel that Parameshwara can be me. I'm just a limited person, just struggling. It cannot be me. So you know where he might be? I think he's in heaven somewhere. And we have lots of books that say, oh yes, that's it. God in heaven. There must be some place else. Must be in. So we kind of accept it. It's not there in front of me. It is not me. So it must be in a kind of like a different experience altogether. Heavenly experience. Must be that. And there's lots of books you'll say, yes. Yes, absolutely. In fact, you know, this is a fact that really almost all religions, I'm not talking about spirituality, but all religions are based on this philosophy. And particularly, if you look at, this is what I've been told, and I can observe it too, if you look at the Islamic religion, it says, forget about this life. You're not going to be happy here. And you ask a question, are you happy here? And the person says, no, I don't feel happy here. See what I told you? You're not going to be happy here. In fact, Islam appeals more to the poor and the disenfranchised people than to the rich and well-to-do. This is a fact. So they say that God is not here. But if you believe in the God, after this miserable existence is over, you'll be in heaven. And we fall for it. The question is, let's analyze what heaven is. And by the way, this is not just Islam, even in Hinduism, we have so many sects that talk about Vaikuntha. We also have a heaven. So the Christians and the Muslims are not the only ones. The main thing is that we postpone it to somewhere other than now. So here the Vedantin says, wait. Okay, let's look at this. You go to heaven. What are you going to find there? Oh, I'm going to find God there. He'll be sitting there. And it'll be so pleasant. There'll be no problems. There's no ants bugging you, no spiders, no robbers. It is all very pleasant. You never get a stomach upset. You don't have a heart attack. This is what is painted out. It's all sukham. I want that. This is what I want to do. Okay, good. So what's going to happen? Oh, there will be Paramatma sitting there with a halo behind him, and just looking at the person. That's just going to give me what they say. This is all written in the books. Chapter such and such, verse number so and so. That you'll be looking at and you'll be gazing. And Paramatma is also looking at you, pleased, with a big smile on his face, all accepting you the way you are. There's no rejection. There's no partisanship. There's no Republicans, no Democrats, no Trump, no Senate. All very pleasant. That is what I want to do. All right, let's examine that. So you're now a limited being sitting in heaven, and you are looking at Parameshwara, right? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Now, is Parameshwara part of this or I? Same thing, same filter. Because you see, our life consists of only two factors, this and I. And so when you go to heaven, you're going to look at Parameshwara as this. Right? Yes, true. Is this a kind of a special this, where time is not a factor? Do you really think that? Yeah, I'm told that it's a this of a different type, which has eternity written on it. Interesting. So you are looking at God eternally. Yes, I'm looking at God eternally. Is that reasonable? At one time, you are simply separate from it. So this duality between you as a limited person and God as this. So this also is not the whole thing. It is only this. So that this includes you. This excludes you and you exclude the this, just like you're doing here. How will that be? How that will be crossed over? Oh, no, I don't know. They say that there'll be a different experience and then. So you're saying you'll be there forever? Yes, I'll be there forever. As a limited person sitting at a limited God forever. You're ready to believe that? Well, I'm not sure that I have any options because I really what I'm looking for is something which is not limited by time, not limited by place, not limited by any dukkha, any sorrow, any problems. That's what I'm looking for. And I don't find that here. And so maybe I'll find it in a different way. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen, but who knows? I don't know. I don't have any options. What do you think? The Shastra says, wait. You already dismissed God as not being this. Yes, that's true. For all the reasons we went through. So the only place that God can be is you. And you have rejected that as well. Because that's not your experience. Yes, that's true. I've rejected. Out of them, this and you, let us narrow our enquiry to you. Because this is to be dismissed rather readily, easily. Because it doesn't make any sense. Because why? Because that's dependent on you and you are independent of it. So God cannot be dependent. It has to be independent. So now let us narrow our definition to you. All right? This is where the search should be directed to. Why do you think you are not happy? As God is supposed to be happy. Because the very definition of God is that it is happy, it's complete, doesn't lack anything. Yes, true. But those definitional points don't apply to me. Why not? Who are you? Let's look into that. You have a wrong impression about who you are. So what it means is that your idea of who you are is blanketed with some confusion, with some ignorance. And once that ignorance is inquired into, you will find that you always have been complete, but thought you were incomplete. This is the issue. Really? So Shastra says, follow me. Follow this is way of inquiry. Because we have to find what is not there, which is not easily dismissible. Fine. Now we have to narrow it down to where it is. So the narrowing is to the eye. So here, Shastra says, see yourself to be in a manner where it is never absent. Why? Because in my daily experience of 24 hours, nothing is constant. Nothing is constant. Experiences are not constant. People are not constant. This we've already seen that. So you have concluded that nothing is constant. You are looking for constancy and you're not finding it anywhere. The whole life passes by because it is again the same template. There may be some minor variations, but it is the whole life for everyone is exactly the same. And you are looking for constancy and you don't find it. There's only one point. If either we can conclude that there is no Parameshwara, no Paramatma, no God, no nothing, no constancy, or you could look for constancy where it is but you are not looking. That's the only thing left. And that in fact is the situation. You find in all experiences of the day this 24-hour template. Is there one thing that is always there? You. Not the you that has superimposed the issues of the body or the mind, the lakshanas, but alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadeshyam, you, the sakshi, the drashta, the seer, you are there in the morning. Then the morning goes and afternoon arises. The morning is different, the temperatures are different, the light is different, the sun is different, but you are the same. The night comes, the night is different, experiences are different, but are you not the same? No, I'm not the same because I've got a headache in the afternoon, in the evening. I'm tired. Your body is tired. How do you know you're tired? Oh, I know I'm tired. I can see it. Exactly. You are the seer of the morning. You are the seer of the headache. You are. Well, I think I'm all, I don't know. I don't. Extract you just the Sat Swarupa. If the morning is Asat, afternoon is Asat, headache is Asat, food is Asat, you are there. See see that you. And the issue we have is that the way I see this, the I, is that I'm always loading it up with, because I'm so used to it. I'm so used to being a human being. You know, this point, this is a very important point actually. And this is discussed in a very, very beautiful analysis in Driktrishya Viveka. And again, I think when we have time in the retreat, we'll go over this, but just exactly bringing that point here. So, you know, they say that the fundamental tool that we have in order to regain my sense of freedom is Viveka. Right? Everything, the very fundamental part of Advaita Vedanta, Vichara, is Viveka. Viveka means distinction or distinguishing between two things that appear to be the same. Is what Viveka is. So in the Drikdishya Viveka, not in the, you know, this is where the commentary on it, the bhashya on it, the thoughts, the explanations, that becomes very, very relevant. So the reason what I'm pointing out is that the Viveka needs to be finer and finer in your thoughts. You know, we were just talking about this, that supposing you have to tell someone about different colors, the Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, etc., yellow, orange, and red. So you tell the child about stark differences between colors. So this is Viveka. Then once that is done, then within each color there is in fact shades. And as I was telling you that for someone like my wife, that, you know, that's her business, extremely small differences in color become very visible to her. She gets these color palettes. They're all visible, they're all available. And these color panels have like 100 different shades of the color. So it becomes, Viveka becomes more and more fine. The reason I'm mentioning this is it's a very important point, really. We'll go over this in some point. That I don't have any problems in doing Viveka between myself and the table. Very obvious. Then comes the next level of Viveka between myself and my body. This requires more wisdom, if you may. You know, just like example in the case of color also, you can say it requires more experience, more loyalty, more thinking. Slowly you become an expert. Similarly here also, doing a Viveka between inert objects and myself is easy. The next level of Viveka is between the drashta, and the deha as a drishya. Because the deha is also drashta, but not a complete drashta, not a total drashta. So that requires more viveka. And the next level of viveka is between myself and my thoughts. Thoughts come and go. I don't. I should see the distinction. And I habitually mix up my thoughts with myself. I'm very unhappy. Oh, you're not unhappy. How can you be unhappy? No, because I feel I'm unhappy. Because how do you know? Because my mind, I can tell I'm very unhappy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this. Then I remember Swami Viditatmananda's famous example that somebody says, Swamiji, I have conquered anger. I don't feel angry. Anger used to be me, but Swami Viditatma said, no, you know what happens sometimes is you feel you've conquered anger, but it's still not invoked yet. It's like a seed that can be fructified. No, Swamiji, I tell you, I have experienced many times where I usually used to make me angry, and I don't get angry, so I'm done. I don't have an anger anymore. Please believe me. That's at least give me that. I may not become an Atma Vidya yet, but at least I have conquered with anger. Swamiji kept needling him. He says, I think a lot of people feel that, they have given up anger, but it is not easy to do. So I don't know whether it was a real life experience or not. So this person finally said, Swamiji, I am telling you, when I say I don't get angry, I mean it. Anyway, going back to this viveka between me and my thoughts, that's the next level of viveka. Then comes the most important and the most difficult, the most subtle. It's really the final viveka that one has to do, really speaking. And that is the viveka between the sakshi, the drashta, the seer, the atma, and the ahankara. The ahankara. What does that mean, ahankara? This is something we need to really spend more time on. So what that means is my idea of who I am. I'm not talking about I'm the body. I'm not even talking about my mind. But me as a person. That is very confusing to me. That requires a lot of viveka. Not of viveka, that requires viveka. Until I can see that my idea of who I am conflicts with who I am, is different from, it's a different shade, I am not ready to give it up. Anyway, that's the viveka that is required. But in any case, going back to it, which is an unfinished business at this point, we haven't really quite, I'm just talking about ekatma pratyaya saram. A search and an analysis of where am I? Where is Parameshwara? So it is all really finding Parameshwara. It's not in heaven, it is not in this, it is in you. Not it in you, it is you. And for that, the final level of viveka has to be done. So we'll continue on this analysis. We're not done yet. So this is all part of the unfolding of the meaning of the word ekatma pratyaya saram. And this is the first one where it is a positive identification of the Atma, not a negative, relative identification of na pratyay, na bahishpragyam, na this, na adrishtam, etc. Ekatma pratyaya saram. Then comes prapancha upashamam. Then comes shantam. Then comes shivam. So we'll keep on exploring this, and in the subsequent classes, I guess we have a couple of more classes before the retreat, and then we'll get into this in much more detail and focus and analysis during the retreat. Om Asato Ma Satkamaye Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaye Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. All right, good. Good to see you all. We will see you next week.